established rich coming right back at you. And today, I want to talk about something that sounds good when you hear it, but when you really think about it, it don't hold up. We talking about JayZ. And I'm going to say this first before anybody get in their feelings. I got respect for what he has built. I've defended him before, and I'd do it again if it makes sense. But this right here, this is one of those times where I gotta be honest. He said he didn't use loopholes or take advantage of people to become a billionaire. And when I heard that, I just looked at the screen like, come on, dog. Not because I'm hating, but because I understand the business he came through. And anybody who pays attention knows the music business ain't built to be fair. The music industry is not built on fairness. It's built on leverage and position. Somebody always has the upper hand in a deal. That's just how it goes. And again, that don't make you wrong. That just means you know how to move. But don't act like you did it without using the system the way it was designed. Because if everything was clean, it wouldn't be nothing to negotiate. There would be no such thing as buying your masters back. And that's when I thought of J. Cole when I heard that.
I know in 2021, when you left Roc Nation, you acquired your masters. Mm-hmm. How has your writing process been? Maybe it changed for you since having full ownership?
The ownership has nothing to do with it. And I also want to say on your platform, because I think I said it on the podcast we did, but you know, people, that's a very small audience of people that just fuck with me. But how I even got my masters back in the first place is because Jay and Roc Nation agreed to switch my record deal over to a distribution deal, you know what I mean? Which gave me a much larger chunk of ownership than I had previously, you know what I mean? Which set me, I just did want to say that because people just think like I just got my master back, but really it's like, now I got him back a little early because, you know, one, I had leverage, but also Roc Nation did the right thing and like overly blessed me by switching that to a distribution deal. And I never said that publicly, I don't think. So I did, while you asked that question, I did just want to mention that. But
if you create something, why do you have to pay to own it again? That question alone tells you what kind of game this is. And it's not a game you win by being fair and playing honest every time.
You to talk a little bit about this idea of like you said earlier, like the things that you do for the culture, the ways that you put on, the ways that you try to protect and move forward, but kind of the pushback that you get sometimes about like people throw capitalists at you in a derogatory sense.
Yeah, I think in that verse specifically, the only thing I heard coming up was the American dream until we started being successful. And it was like, wait a minute, you're selling out because you're making money. That was the first thing that was put on musicians. People had this allure for the struggling artist. That's a mind game, what we would call back in the day for tricknology. It was like, no, I'm not going for that. Like, no, I make art first. And then I make sure that I'm compensated for my art. I didn't take advantage. I didn't get here by taking advantage of people. I didn't take it, no one. That's not my reputation. That's not what I do. I didn't get here by taking advantage of people or taking advantage of, you know, the loopholes in the system or some wrinkle in like a capitalist structure. That structure exists, you know, and I just see the world for what it is, not for what I want it to be. I'm a realist, not an ideal. It's not idealistic.
So what Hov said too, he didn't get there by taking advantage of somebody or by finding some loophole and exploiting that.
I disagree.
So that's what I'm saying. And if you look back at his story, he pioneered a lot of that stuff, a lot of the decisions and different things that he was doing.
They started Rockefeller with drug money, right?
Allegedly.
That's not taking advantage of people?
What,
selling crack to drug addicts in your own community isn't taking advantage of getting.
It was the 80s. Hold up. What you could deem as taking advantage of somebody else may look at as survival. So
you survived by taking advantage of people. They're not mutually exclusive.
By supply and demand.
Yes, if you supply,
but that's not.
Yes, literally. Yes.
I think that's
that's not what made you. That's not what made a billionaire, though. That's what I'm saying, though. That's
no, but so y'all made like 10 arguments. Let me respond to a couple of them. I don't have an issue with artists making money off their art. I don't have an issue with people making money or profit. Capitalism isn't the only system where people make money. That's why sometimes when people go, you made some money, and you say you don't like capitalism. Well, yeah, there's other social systems where people make money. Like
give me some
socialism. There's still you can still have a profit in socialism, right? So it's not that there's no system where you can't make money. The question is to what extent. And I agree with you. If defining the issue isn't the definition of capitalism, it's the consequences of it.
You can hear exactly what he was trying to say. He basically saying, this is the world, I just learned how to play in it. And I'm not mad at that. I respect that part. But what I'm saying is this, don't clean it up too much. Don't make it sound like the system didn't work for you while you was working it. Because the system is built with advantages for people who understand it. Taxes, deals, structures, ownership, who you know, it's all part of it. And if you reach that level, you use something in that system. Ain't no way around it. Now, this is where it gets a little deeper. Because this ain't just about business, it's about people. This is about how money changes how you see things and how you start explaining your moves different once you up there. And this ain't even a new conversation. This been said before, just in a different time.
Or, look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole 9. That's not fair to me.
That hit different, don't it? Because what Tupac was talking about then, we still seeing now. People get money and they want more. People get power and then start justifying how they got it. And again, I'm not saying JayZ is a bad person. What I'm saying is, don't act like you ain't played the game, because you did. And that don't take away from what you built. It just makes the story real. Because now it ain't just about what he said. It's how everybody else is hearing it. You got people listening to that like, okay, I hear you. And then you got other people like, nah, that ain't the full story. And both sides have a point if we being real. Because you can respect success and still question the explanation. And that's where somebody like Van Lathan comes into the conversation. Because he ain't coming from hate, he coming from a different lens.
I think the break for me, and just the grand break, is that JayZ is saying we in that, but there is no we. What should be being said is I got money. I made it. I did this. Because the pushback on capitalism right now isn't about who made money fairly or who made money ethically. It's about whether or not the system is inherently fair or ethical. And every time I hear somebody talk about this, that is missed. What people are saying is that they're looking around and they're seeing insane income inequality. They're seeing the eroding of living standards for average Americans. They're seeing even sometimes the life expectancy change, right? They're seeing fucked up food. They're seeing declining infrastructure. And they're not saying that JayZ isn't working. They're saying this isn't working. They're saying this thing that everyone was told to buy into, and that this would be the saving grace, not of the billionaire class, of the people who are doing fantastic, not of Trump and Hove and Robert Kraft and Michael Rubin. Yeah, it's working for them. What people are saying is it's not working for us. And when we have this conversation, it always gets personalized. It gets personalized by people who go, hey, now that we didn't make the money, now they're telling us that we're bad. We're saying the thing is bad. We're saying the thing is inefficient. We're saying the thing is grotesque. We're saying the thing creates winners and losers. It manufactures that. We're saying the thing that we were told was the saving grace of our American existence it's an illusion. And we're trying to have that conversation even with the people who have been able to make the thing work for them. We're trying to say, you're rich. I might be rich. You might be rich. But we're trying to say everywhere else, there's a tremendous amount of immiseration. There's a tremendous amount of systemic failure. And that systemic failure isn't getting better the more money he makes.
Now you see why this ain't just a yes or no type of situation. This one of them conversations where two things can be true at the same time. You can be a genius in how you move and still have benefited from how the system was set up. And that's the part I think people are struggling with. They think if you say one, you're taking away from the others. But nah, both of them can exist. You can build something great and still be part of a system that's not built fair. Now this is where I want to bring Nas into it for a second, because his path looks different and that difference matters. Nas went heavy into investments, tech companies, quiet money moves. He built his wealth in a space where he ain't controlling artists or their music. And that don't make him better than JayZ, but it does show you there's more than one way to win. JayZ built a lot of his foundation inside the music business. And we all know that business comes with contracts, ownership issues, and contract situations. So when people hear him say he didn't take advantage or use loopholes, that don't sound right to everybody. Not because they hating, but because they've seen too much how this game really works. And this is where I'm at with it, just keeping it all the way real. I don't have a problem with him winning, I have a problem with him explaining how he won, because you don't have to clean it up. You don't have to sound perfect. Just say you learned the game and you played it better than everybody else. That's it. People would respect that way more, because everybody knows this game ain't built on fairness. And that don't take away from his legacy. That just makes it more real, if you ask me, because now people can see the full picture, not just the success, but the environment the success came from. And that's all this conversation really is. It ain't about tearing nobody down, and it's not about acting like the system don't exist, because it does. And everybody who makes it to be a billionaire played it some type of way. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.